In the wake of the Florida school massacre, President Trump and the NRA are pushing to arm teachers as one way to prevent mass shootings. But just this week, a Georgia high school teacher was arrested after barricading himself in a classroom and firing a handgun out of a window. CNN's Gary Tuchman has all the details.
For those who support arming school teachers, Jesse Randall Davidson would not be the role model they're looking for.
Oh my God! Oh my God, bro!
The 53-year-old social studies teacher at Dalton High School in North Georgia locked himself in his otherwise empty classroom and then is accused of shooting his handgun.
This is the classroom where the teacher was at, and this is the window where he fired his gun, and it's now boarded up.
The school principal says he went to the classroom door twice after hearing Davidson was not coming out.
He told me he had a gun, and shortly after that, I heard a gunshot.
Nobody was hit by the single gunshot, but panic ensued. The 1,900-student school actually went into lockdown. If police know the motive of the shooting, they're not saying.
I was shaking and crying and just like holding one of my best friend's hands and strangers' hands, and we were just communicating with everybody, trying to see what happened.
All you hear is like the footsteps, and we didn't know who it was running the hallway. So we were scared every time we heard footsteps because we didn't know who was going to come to us, if it was good people, bad people.
The teacher is not unknown to local police. In March of 2016, a Dalton police report stated that Davidson had come to the police station to confess to having someone killed. Police eventually determined he made up the story. They found no murder victim. He wasn't arrested, but received medical treatment. The school says it is aware of his medical history.
Sir, according to a police report, this teacher had said he was involved in the murder of a person who turned out to be a fictional person. Did you know about that? And if you did, why would he be allowed to continue teaching here?
I'm aware of the police report, but as far as I'm aware, he was fit to be at work yesterday.
But does that concern you, knowing the specifics about that police report, if you didn't know those specifics?
Again, I'm aware of the report, but he was fit to be at work yesterday.
Well, why would he have been fit if that was in a police report that he claimed to murder someone?
I can't answer a why.
We're not allowed by law to release at this point.
Well, it's a police report, it's not medical information.
But any information about his condition is, and that's your question, sir.
Gary Tuchman, CNN, Dalton, Georgia.
Now, we have two very different things going on here. There, you see a school that now has to cover for the situation and make sure that their behavior was okay, not exposing themselves to liability. That happens at an institutional level. But how can you change these rules so that somebody who those close to him, they do know that he's in distress? He has had problems like this. When will that start counting in the process of who gets access to weapons and who does not? So when the story broke, a junior from the school tweeted the NRA, quote, "My favorite teacher at Dalton High School just blockaded his door and proceeded to the shoot. We had to run out the back of the school in the rain. Students were being trampled and screaming. I dare you to tell me arming teachers will make us safe." Chondi Chastain joins us now. Chondi, can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah,
Great.
I can.
Thank you for joining us. How are you feeling this morning? How are your friends doing?
It's hard for all of us, but we are all staying together and staying strong.
So when this happened yesterday, first let's talk about the moment and what that meant, and then your reaction afterwards. When you got the signal that you needed to evacuate, what did people think was going on and what was going through your head?
Based on the events that have been happening around us, everyone thought that it was a shooting. And so we were all just terrified and running for what we thought was our lives.
And when you found out who was involved, you know this teacher, you like this teacher. What did you think about that?
I was completely shocked. I did not expect this at all from him. And now that I know more of the story, I feel like I just feel bad for him.
It seems like he is dealing with some serious personal issues, but when he would be in the classroom or he would be dealing with you at school, tell us about the man that you knew, the teacher you knew.
He was always really kind and funny. If he saw kids being bullied, he would stop it. If he saw quiet kids, he would always try to include them. He was just a great guy.
Well, it's important. The reason I'm asking you, Chondi, is because, there is this temptation right now in society to say if somebody has mental health, there's something bad about them. They're somehow inherently dangerous. We know that's not true in terms of statistics, but I just wanted to get a sense of what kind of man this was. And to hear you say this was a good person, that he liked the kids, it's important that people know that about somebody, even if they wind up doing something like this. So, in the aftermath, you decided to do something. You wanted to tweet the NRA. Why the NRA? Why did it matter to you so much? What motivated that tweet?
I already knew that it was a bad idea to arm teachers with guns. I just thought that it didn't sound very logical. And after this happened, this just goes to prove that it's not good. I know that Mr. Davidson would never try to hurt anyone, and I just fear if it was a different teacher, if more teachers had guns, this could have been a lot more tragic than it was.
The other thing, the other side of this is, well, God forbid if this were a shooter inside the school, if you had a number of your teachers who were skilled and wanted to volunteer and knew how to use a weapon, it might take that shooter out before he could take other people's lives. Why doesn't that mean enough to you?
You never know. If you give a teacher a gun, they could be fine right whenever they're issued it, but you never know what could happen. Maybe something can snap and they might, I hope that this doesn't happen, but they could do something. And if there is a shooter in the school and we need to be protected, I think that maybe we should have more officers in the school. We go to a school with over 1,000 kids, almost 2,000 kids, and we only have one police officer in our school. So maybe we could increase security or have more non-lethal weapons.
Chondi, thank God this was not what we've been dealing with recently down in Florida. Thank you for getting involved. Your tweet went viral. I think it was over 60,000 responses to it. So let's see what you do with your newfound relevance. And thank you for telling us about your teacher. Appreciate it. Be well.
Thank you.
All right.